What's your tell me I'm not the only one who does this weird odd habit. Story 1. I learned that most people when out of breath just take deep breaths and get back to normal. I've always had a thing where I had to hit the perfect inhale. When out of breath I'll take several deep breaths, but I never feel quite right until I can get this one breath that feels as if it fills up my lungs completely, and the others just never made it. I mentioned it in a biology class in high school, and that's when I learned I have asthma. Story 2. Have fake conversations in my head, but on occasion say my half of the conversation out loud, either to no one or to anyone in the room if I'm not careful. Story 3. Not a habit so much as a reflex, but oftentimes when I'm thinking of something embarrassing from my past I'll uncontrollably blurt out a random word, phrase, or even just a noise, regardless of if I'm alone or in public. Story 4. I always have to have my feet propped on something when I'm sitting. I usually either perch like a gargoyle or sit cross-legged. I can sit normally when I have to, but I'll either be bouncing a leg or wiggling a foot unless I put in conscious effort. Story 5. I have such strong arguments with myself in my head, it will affect my mood. Many times I've been pissed I was like thinking to myself, wow, that was so uncalled for, who would say that? Then I remember it was me to me. Also, I have strong visualizations. Like one time, I cried because our son didn't get his scholarship and we couldn't afford the school he wanted to go to. Then I remember him 26, financially stable, not married nor do I have kids. Edit. We are all normal, fam, and no, I will not go see a shrink. Story 6. I have a weird compulsion to experience equal stimuli. Accidentally scuff your left shoe while walking, gotta scuff the right one. Oops, that scuff was too hard, gotta rescuff left again, just a tad, damn it, too much, rescuff right, not enough, scuff again, and drat, too much, gotta rescuff the left again. Also, I'm not sure how to describe it, but sometimes my nails feel too detached from my fingers. I'll like apply pressure on the pads of my finger, right under the nail, until the nail is entirely touching flesh, then release, but wait, that was too much pressure on my left index, gotta do the right now, and damn it. Story 7. I don't know how to explain this, but here we go. Say I have a plate of food, I'll automatically try and find the perfect bit of the meal and eat it last, eating around the perfect bit. Please tell me I'm not the only one. Story 8. This isn't that weird, but whenever I have a small piece of pizza and a big piece I always eat the small one first so I don't finish the big piece and then become sad because the last piece is a small one. Story 9. I need access to water at all times. Going somewhere, need a water bottle, bedtime, 2 water glasses, movie theater featuring salty popcorn, 2 water bottles. Your girl likes to hydrate. Story 10. If I get home and I really have to pee I do all my errands before peeing even if I'm bursting. For example, changing into comfy clothes, putting groceries away. Story 11. If there's nobody in house, I'll just talk to myself endlessly and walk around. I cannot watch anything through continuously and silently. I have to pause or interject to riff and commentate. I meow at my cat. Story 12. I flush the toilet while I'm still peeing in a way that I finish peeing just as the water finally goes down the pipe. I don't know how much time this actually saves, but I've been doing it for years so it's a habit now. Edit. Holy, this blew up. Rip my inbox. I seriously though that very few people did this, but it would appear that I was extremely mistaken. Story 13. I've been told this is weird. When shopping I never grab the first one available. Buying a movie, I don't want the one on display. I want any other one behind it. That box of cereal up front looks fine. Then someone else can have it. I have to take the one behind it. Story 14. Stepped on a crack with my right foot. Now I need to step on one with my left. Oh, but you stepped in the center of the pavement with the last 2 left steps. Better make those next 2 right steps centered to balance it out. Sometimes I find myself walking like a moron to keep some stupid made-up rhythmic balance going. Story 15. I sing random impromptu songs to my dog and cat. Hello kitty, I hope you're not too shitty, cause it would be a pity, if you were not the greatest kitty in the city. Or puppy needs to go outside, gotta pee and poo, just like me and you, do pee and poo, the neighbors think him nuts. Story 16. While playing a game watching a movie I constantly adjust the volume up and down subconsciously to even out the booming background music and people talking. I do this even more when others are watching. Story 17. I used to chew plastic, really bad, water bottle tops, pen caps, other soft plastic, was just a nervous tick for a while, and have made a conscious effort to get off the habit, but yeah, it's weird. Story 18. When I think about doing something I have to do it. For example, if I am walking somewhere and I think I have to touch that tree then I must. I know nothing will happen if I do, but if I think it, I must do it. This has come to the point where I'm bringing sticks and rocks home because I think I want that rock. Story 19. I almost always place a TV remote face down on the couch. The buttons are made of what feels like a rubber material and prevent the remote from inadvertently sliding away, particularly when you are putting the remote on the arm of the couch. Story 20. Whenever I'm talking to someone that has an accent, I slowly start to subconsciously mimic their accent. It makes it seem like I'm mocking him her, and I hate it. Story 21. Wet my hands before scrubbing with liquid soap. Everyone else seems to do soap first, but I just feel like the soap is sticky and doesn't lather well unless my hands are wet first. Story 22. I eat a lot of foods in a weird way. Basically the entire strategy revolves around saving the best part for last. For example, I eat oatmeal cream pies processed as Little Debbie snack by first detaching the 2 cookie sides and then eating all of the outer edge until I have only cream left. Then I try to eat away as much cookie to leave only cream. I also chew on the wrappers of muffins like gum because they retain the flavor of the muffin really well. I feel like this is actually a hidden gem, but I still don't do it in public. Edit: after reading what I just wrote, I am pretty sure I'm on the spectrum. Story 23. Whenever I have a drink with a straw, once Eve finished the drink I take out the straw, fold it up, then chew on it like it's gum for a while till I feel the need to spit it out. Story 24. I brush my teeth like a monster. Toothpaste drips everywhere, and half the toothbrush in my hand will be covered with toothpaste by the end of the carnage. Story 25. I hold my pen like this kinda looks weird. When I compare it with other people, found out it's called the quadrupop grip. Story 26. I always save the best part of the meal for the end, so if I have a slice of cake, I'll eat the main cake first, then scoop all the icing. If I'm eating barbecue, the burnt ends or where the most seasoning is gets reserved for the last bite. Weirdest is cookie dough ice cream. I'll push all the cookie dough to the side, eat basic vanilla, then have a giant glob of cookie dough. Story 27. Looking at someone and fantasizing about a life together with her, fantasizing about the everyday companionship that we'd have together, cooking dinner together, going shopping for clothes together, waking up before her, and what I'd have to do to be quiet so I don't wake her. Sitting on the couch both reading and being okay with the silent company, or maybe that's just a lonely person thing, I don't know. Story 28. When I'm watching any video on my iPhone, I have this uncontrollable habit of clicking on the screen to make the time bar reappear. It's tearing me apart. Story 29. When in a moving car on a residential street, driving or not, I lift toes on my right foot when a driveway on the right lines up with the front of the car, and put them back down when the car has passed. Same with left foot. Pretty sure I'm on the spectrum. Story 30. I thought I was one of the few, but I found a bunch of people on Reddit that do this. I need to fall asleep with the TV on, but it has to be a show I've already watched because I just stay up and watch the new show. With Netflix I usually cycle through The Office, Parks Rec, Scrubs, and Him when they were on. I love Hulu, but it will play for hours where Netflix shuts down after episodes, which is the perfect time to fall asleep. If the TV is on all night, then I don't sleep as well. Story 31. I tap my fingers when my hands aren't doing anything, but I have to make sure that every finger is tapped the same amount of times, and I only tap one at a time. I tap my index finger 2x, middle, ring, pinky, thumb 2x, then back. I continue doing this until I have something to do. Story 32. If my wife is topless and laying on her back, I'll straddle her to where I'm sitting on her waist, then I'll grab each with a hand and then proceed to use her like I'm driving a mech, complete with sound effects. ZZJA for each step I take, and when I come across enemy mechs, I fire the laser cannons by literally pressing down on her nipples with my thumbs and making pew 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 noises. Story 33. If I'm out with a group of friends, I never announce that I'm leaving. I will go use the bathroom and duck out the back entrance, say I have to take a call and not return, etc. I always think if I announce that I'm leaving, the second I leave everyone will start talking about me behind my back. Story 34. If I'm eating in front of the TV, I hate to eat when the adverts are on, or at least, I never start my food during adverts. I'll sit down and wait till the program has started again. Story 35. I can't eat in my house unless all the toilets are closed. Grosses me out if they're open. I check each toilet before I eat every time. Yes, I fake having to use the bathroom at other people's houses to close the toilets. If it really inconveniences me to do it though, I can still eat with them open. Same if it's a toilet that has no lid. It's weird. I have to check that the stove oven are off for like 60 seconds straight, looking between the two multiple times, before I go to bed or leave the house. Edit clarity. Story 36. I could easily go to the search bar on Netflix and look for the title, but I absolutely need to go through all Netflix manually to find the title. I don't know why, but I like looking for it rather and using the search and saving way more time. Story 37. Whenever I have my dog in my car and we see another dog either walking or in another car, I always bark at the dog just to build his confidence and remind him that I'm the pack leader. It gets really awkward sometimes at stoplights. Story 38. When I get home I have to immediately put on pajama pants or gym shorts. I can't stand lounging in jeans or shorts also, not so much anymore, but when I was younger, if I spun around I had to spin back around the same amount of times and volume had to be an even number. Story 39. Sometimes when I stand up after sitting for a while my vision will fade out to black and I'll feel really lightheaded and off balance for a few seconds. There have been a few times that when my vision has come back I'm laying on the floor with no memory of falling. Story 40. I smell the dish sponge before I use it. If it's not fresh then time to dunk it in some bleach water. Also I like to smell my bra every time after I take it off, like a good big sniff. Always amazes me how they smell good. Story 41. I don't use nail clippers for my toes. Instead I use my fingernails to sort of peel them off. I made this video a while back to show what I mean by that. Story 42. Imagine another creature to comfort me when I am pissed off or upset, but can't express it at the moment. Could be a talking animal or a fictional character, but I imagine them wrecking the room or yelling at the person who upset me, sort of an outlet for that negative energy when I can't vent myself due to being at work, in public, etc. Story 43. I doubt anybody else does this, it's just a tick. I'm hardcore OCD, and I do this thing where if I need something to go right in my head I'll say well if this happens this way then that will happen. Example, if I stop the microwave exactly 10 seconds before it's done, then I'm gonna get paid today, just stupid irrelevant like that, and that it doesn't correlate at all but somehow gives me peace of mind for events to come. Story 44 I don't chew my fingernails. I chew on the skin around my nails. I've done it since I was a kid, am aware it's super gross and try my best not to do it in public, but sometimes I just snap back to reality and realize I've been sitting at my work desk chewing absently for like an hour. Ugh, I get fake nails these days largely because they make it too difficult for my teeth to get hold around my nail with the acrylic in the way. Story 45 I think I've got 2 1, I count syllables in songs. I prefer if every line ends on a multiple of 5 or 10, if not I keep counting lines until one eventually does. I started doing it just for fun once and it's stuck ever since too. There are some words I feel compelled to write out with my finger in cursive. I'll just randomly think or hear a word and I have to write it until I feel like I wrote it perfectly. Story 46 I absent-mindedly scratch my thumbs with the nails on my forefingers to the point of making them bleed. Usually happens when I'm stressed or drinking a lot. I can tell a lot about the state of my life by the health of my thumb skin. For what it's worth, pretty much completely healed right now. Story 47 when I wipe my and sometimes my fingers punctures the toilet paper and touches my a little bit then I smell my fingers. If I'm home alone and cooking, I would often narrate what I'm doing as if I'm on a cooking show. Story 48 when I was a young boy my parents threw a party. A rager, I guess you'd call it. Either way they got wasted, everybody got wasted, and me and my older brother were left to fend for ourselves that night. Older bro stepped the up though, and took me to the kitchen and smothered some white bread with cinnamon sugar. Handed me a plate with 2 slices of cinnamon-coated bread and told me that was dinner. 24 years later, and that's still a go-to snack for me, but he'll never tell a soul IRL. Story 49 I eat peanut butter straight from the jar. Keep in mind this is my own jar, don't share with family, and I specifically eat creamy. I don't have eating disorders, I just really like eating peanut butter out of the jar. Story 50 whenever I touch something unintentionally say with my right hand, I feel the need to touch it with the same part of my left hand as well. Please tell me I'm not alone here. Story 51 I switch out of my normal clothes into a sort of daytime PJs as soon as I step inside the door at my own home. Change shirt, pants and take off my socks. No way you'll stain my jeans and such for an entire day at home, are you crazy? Story 52 I have perpetual T-Rex arms. I find it unnerving to walk or stand with my arms hanging down by my sides like a normal person. I catch myself walking around elbows bent with my hands just dangling from my wrists all the time, and at some point started making a point to always carry something in my hands to make it less weird like at work, when out socially, etc. It's not as awkward during the 95% of the time. I have a beverage and/or my phone to keep in hand, but if I don't have something to hold I'm just a lost little dinosaur. Story 53 my left foot is the odd step, my right foot is the even step. Last step has to be even. This matters most when going up down stairs, or crossing street step only on the white strips. Don't judge me, this system works great for ballroom dancing. Story 54 I have a couple. For almost 30 years, I have a habit of picking at the taste buds to either side of the tip of my tongue. I have small permanent dents from it. It's akin to biting your nails or pulling hairpicking skin, but I've never known anyone else to do it this way specifically. The other one is since I was a toddler, I'll absent-mindedly rub wide hems in my fingers, like a nice shirt hem. I'll put it between my middle and ring fingers, and use my thumb to flatten the hem and rub it back and forth, like a worry rock I guess. Story 55 whenever I walk between different tiles on the footpath, I count how many lengths of my foot can fit in each one and try to make each one perfect. If not I get really irritated and anxious. Story 56 I feel like I sometimes do things so mindlessly that I actually forget I do them. I always brush my teeth and wear contacts, but did I or did I forget? I take my contacts off right when I get home, but wait, did I forget deodorant? Always need a sniff to make sure. Did I forget to condition my hair in the shower? Of course not, but I almost don't realize I did it, if that makes sense. It's worse when I leave the house, like is the oven off, the doors. I always check the doors 18 times to be sure, even though I always lock them. If I don't say out loud you locked the door, chances are I'm turning around to double check if the door's locked. Story 57 in college while typing a paper up, if I got hung up on what I was going to type next I repeatedly hit space, backspace, space, backspace to the same cadence of my productive keystrokes and continue on. When I figured out how to phrase something, it would drive my girlfriend crazy. Story 58 I like the texture and taste of frozen homemade waffles and pancakes. I'll freeze the leftovers and just go in and eat them straight from the freezer. I also like bread and bagels, depending on the type too. Story 59 I didn't realize I did this until someone pointed it out, but when I'm cooking in a good mood, I make up songs about the food, to familiar tunes. For example, while cooking asparagus I sang about it to the tune of Age of Aquarius. Story 60 I never buy the product I pick up to look at. I always put it back on the shelf and take one from behind it instead. It's like the first one I pick up feels used as I've already touched it, so I need a clean one. Story 61 tell myself constantly in my head all the negatives about myself and make many more up as I work throughout the day. Also constantly doubting people's compliments and feeling like people compliment me out of pity. Story 62 I growl in such a way that it makes my jaw shake if I growl too loud. It makes me feel good. I guess it's got something to do with autism, but I don't know how or why. Story 63 I like planning where I'm going out to dinner at the beginning of the day so that I'm excited for the food, and if I've never been there, I'll look up the menu and plan what I want. Story 64 I generally go up the stairs 2 at a time. It's frustrating to do this for all of the steps just to get to the top and only have one step left though, because it causes a much smaller and uncomfortable step compared to the prior ones. So for commonly used stairs I learn if I need to use the first step to not have one left at the end, or if I can go two at a time from the beginning and make it all the way to the top fine. For example, going to the second story of my house I have to use the first step and then use two at a time after. But in the basement it's the other way, where I just go two steps at a time from the beginning. Same for work as well. Story 65. My food cannot touch. I use divider plates. Certain things can touch, like corn and mashed potatoes, but most cannot. It's gross. If my bread gets damp from gravy or steak juice, for example, in the trash it goes. Salads, casseroles, stuff of that nature is fine. Story 66. This is probably not quite the right thing, and I post at the risk of finding out there is something wrong with me, but I don't get enough sleep. I don't know if this has anything to do with it since I had this going on even when my sleep was good, but anyways, if I'm moving during the day I'm fine, but sometimes when in between jobs at work, I will start to doze, and for the most part nothing happens. My head nods and a second later I shake it off, stand up and busy myself. However, sometimes I will nod, and all of a sudden it's as if I'm in a dream, one with substance and dialogue and plot and a lot going on, but I will still be only dozed off for a second still, and when I shake it off and stand up, I'll instantly forget what it was all about. During the dream it is all clear as day. It's almost as if I get visions that seem to last an hour or two, but in reality it's 1 to 3 seconds and then gone from my memory except the knowledge that it was there. I really hope I'm not the only one. Story 67. I avoid public restrooms, but when I have to use one in an emergency I'll still get naked and just hold my clothes in my lap if there's no clothes hook. Story 68. I sleep on my side and discovered this weird habit where I need to grab my Achilles tendon of the lower leg between my big toe and index toe of my other leg in order to fall asleep. Pretty sure I'm the only one. Story 69. I like to hold in longer than I should. It probably isn't healthy, but when I actually use the restroom is it the most satisfying thing for me, even better than sneezing. Story 70. Picking my gums. It feels so good, it's like a compulsion. I especially do it when I'm anxious about something. I know it's not good for my gums though, so I purposely keep my nails short to prevent myself from doing it. Story 71. I have to make the bed before I get in. I can't relax enough to fall asleep if the comforter doesn't line up right with the sheets. Drives my wife nuts. Only 'cause I do it while she's already asleep though. Story 72. I make simple math problems out of anything. The time, ticket orders at work, building numbers, etc. I bend the rules of math occasionally to make work. Story 73. I have mini races with myself. I convince myself something malicious is behind me and I need to step past a certain point on the floor, usually a line in tile, doorway, or a divot in concrete or something, or it'll catch me. Sometimes I end up running. Story 74. If I in public I'll try to take really deep breaths to like up the so nobody smells it. I figure nobody exhales stinky, so it must get like neutralized in your lungs or something, hence the more of the I breathe the less there is for a stranger to suffer through. I recently found out my sister does this too. I've never discussed it with anyone else. Story 75. I take the instrumental versions of songs I like and raise the pitch up by 1 octave in Audacity. I can hear the bass line and a ton of different details this way. Story 76. I always try to time up my peeing and flush the toilet so that I finish right as the flush finishes. I almost always flush too early and have to flush twice. I don't know why I do this. Story 77. I click my teeth to the drumbeat of any given song. It usually happens while I'm driving and listening to the radio. A lot of times I will just have a particular song stuck in my head and just go at it. I even alternate sides of my mouth for the faster rolls. Story 78. Tell me I'm not the only one who double checks to make sure that my sink is actually off after using it, even though there is clearly no water coming out of it. Doesn't matter where I live or the type of sink. For some reason I can't stop this habit. Story 79. I eat one type of food on my plate completely before I start on the next type. Always saving the tastiest, usually the main course, for last. For example, if I'm having green beans, mashed potatoes, and steak for dinner, I will eat all of my green beans before I eat all of my mashed potatoes, all before I eat the entire steak. My family have always told me that was strange, but to me, it feels like the most right way to consume my food. Story 80. I eat myself. Like, I know many people thinks it's gross, but plenty of people do some of it, picking and eating boogers, peeling and eating scabs, or licking sucking a bleeding wound though. IMO scabs are better than blood. I rarely will get a bit of earwax under a fingernail when I am itching my ears, and eat it. I don't actually enjoy earwax though, but I just feel like I need to eat it. I chew on hairs, whether they are eyelashes, beard or mustache hairs, or a nose hair I plucked. Sometimes I will chew on my head hair, but not often. I love it when I get eye crusties, eye boogers, sleepies, whatever you call them. They are crunchy and salty. When I was a kid I got bad sunburns every summer 2 or 3 times a year, and I always ate some of the peeling skin when it started shedding. I almost never get sunburns anymore, so no more of that. I am not into or scat, but I can't say I never tried some, to see what it was like, but the big one I am pretty sure very few other dudes do. After I masturbate, I always eat my if I can. I love it when some of it comes out kinda jelly-like, or it is thick and creamy, versus when it is thinner and watery. And to be clear, I am 100 hetero straight male, and the mere thought of another dude's penis or in my mouth makes me feel a bit nauseated. Kinda like the thought of eating someone else's scabs or boogers or etc. Disgusting. I can't stand the thought of sharing it with anyone else either, not like I don't want someone else to have my, but if a girl blows me, I do not want that back in a kiss, and I don't want to lick it off of her body, if it ended up there somehow. Even if I just ate her out and was licking most of her body, for some reason the thought of eating my off of there just grosses me out. So it is only when I will clean myself up without the aid of any Kleenex or cum rags or etc., just using my fingers to scoop it up and bring it to my mouth. I have no idea why most of it started. Or why I still do it and love it so much, but I at least can say I know why I eat my. The first time I actually came while masturbating, it was a totally clear watery liquid. This was long enough ago that I had no internet to know anything about, and the very few Max videos I had seen all had thick white ropey well. That is still pretty much true today, but I digress. So I touched my finger to the little pool on my stomach, and almost reluctantly tasted it to see if it was pee. I had never tasted pee at that point, so no clue what I expected this to prove, but hey, I was a dumb kid, and there was no taste at all. And from then on, it was like a ritual. After I came I just tasted a tiny bit of it. Eventually I developed actual semen in there, and it developed a flavor and varying degrees of creaminess thickness, and I just was in the habit by then. Sometimes I'll measure my penis, but I won't have any measuring tape on me, so I'll just put my phone up to my lil man and Google length of iPhone to find out what I'm working with. Story 81. I need to sleep with the window open. Doesn't matter the temperature, freezing outside and raining, windows open, extra blanket, I need the airflow, I feel like I'm suffocating otherwise. Story 82. The last mouthful of every meal must have a bit of everything that was originally presented on the plate. Like I don't eat all the chips fries, then the entire burger, then all the nuggets, I must have a fry, bit of burger and a nugget in my mouth for the last munch. Story 83. I like my body to balance out. If I feel something cold or metallic on one hand I feel it with the other. If I get hit in one should I try to replicate it on the other? If I don't I start to feel uncomfortable. Story 84. My fitted sheet on my bed has to be on correctly. I do not understand how people get in bed with a corner off or even loose. It drives me up the wall. My so is the worst culprit. I fussed at him for not fixing the bed before getting in it because with the added weight there's no way to fix it, then I'm stuck in a soggy sheeted bed. Story 85. I'll beat my meat 3 times a day on some days, and still have the drive to do it more and be completely horny and obsessed for a day, and then sometimes I'll straight go a week without even thinking about it. Story 86. Fill the silence when I'm alone with random songs. Often in the shower. I don't mean full songs with lyrics, I usually just spew whatever words come to mind alongside a melody, and sometimes terrible attempts at rhyming. Recent songs I've sung include What Color Is Your Mahatma Gandhi? I Can't Hug You Cause I Got Banana Freeze Dance for When the Water Heater Is Broken I'm Possessed by the Evil Lord Dingle Red, Blue, Orange, Green, Purple, Yellow, Tangerine. What cooler is your Mahatma Gandhi? What color?